This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
In those days, JR, would he report to you as you would be the lead announcer? What would that structure look like in terms of oversight for Michael?
Well, I gave him advice. Reporting to me probably might be a little stringent a term.
Okay.
I produced him a lot. I was in his headset a lot. And Taz and I were just talking about that the other day before I left my post a few weeks ago, that he'd like for me to produce him and Cole. But I didn't overtalk it. I gave him sound bites. Then I had things that were more meaty or more significant. They got it during a commercial break, or when they could actually hear it and absorb it. So I produced differently than Vince did. In other words, I was not nearly as aggressive in how my tone and inflection to what they heard in their ear. I didn't want them to hear panic or anger. I don't need that, and the broadcast doesn't need that. So you got to, fight that off. That's what Mick Foley here earlier today, as we mentioned, he couldn't handle that aspect of it. Just bothered him so much.
Sure.
The stress of being produced, hammering, boom, boom. And same thing for Taz. Taz had enough. And so some people handle it better than others. It's just their own personality and their own mental makeup. And for some reason, I said this before, one of the reasons that I survived working with Vince for so many years and profitably and being productive and all that good stuff is because I was raised by a guy that was just like him.
Mm.
My dad told me he loved me once in my life. I know that he did. I know he went to all my ball games. I know that, he was a big fan of what I did in school. He was just a little awkward and socially unsure of how he should conduct himself as the father of an only son. So he didn't share those feelings with me a lot, even though I knew it, so I could compensate. I knew it was there. But he was tough, man. Tough love was, you kidding me? Jeez. So, but then now Cowboy, what are you going to say there?
Yeah.
Tough as hell. He was a man's man, and he's going to tell you how as they say in Oklahoma, how the cow ate the cabbage. And, but so then you go to work, then you go to Atlanta, and one of the first guys I worked for in Atlanta is Ole. Okay, so here I am. I'm just matriculating right along, as Hank Stram would say. And I'm, working from, my dad's there, then Cowboy, then Ole, then Vince.
Strong personalities.
Oh yeah. So the time Vince got his hands on me, he did things and say things that would upset me because I felt like they were counterproductive. And there's no sense of breaking your play-by-play guy down in the middle of a live show. It's just illogical. And of course, you can always say, well, JR, you just got to toughen up. You're making a lot of this, toughen up. Hey, fuck yourself. Sit out there and you do it. You toughen up. You have no net. You're on national, global television. And it's all ad libs, all extemporaneous. And while you're being bombarded oftentimes with negatives and cursing, you're supposed to maintain this level of professionalism and tell these great stories as if nobody was in your headset. So it didn't affect me as much as some guys, but for a lot of guys, it was a deal breaker, and unfortunately.
Can't imagine, JR, the pressure of someone talking to you. Now, would it happen while you're trying to talk? Are they feeding you words as you're trying to talk at the same time?
Of course. So you're hearing them, you're hearing yourself, you're hearing the ambient noise. Then if your partner's got something to say, you gotta factor all that in. It's a bad system. It's not poor JR. JR got paid a lot of money from Vince McMahon. Knock on wood. I'm very blessed. But I earned every frigging dime.
It's chaos in that time, in that place, in those moments. It can be chaos. It sounds like.
Yep. And that's why now, when I go back to working for Tony Khan, it's a whole. I'm counting down the days.
Right.
I enjoy being around the AEW people. I enjoy being around that youth. I enjoy being able to add a boy sometimes or add a girl somebody sometimes, because it means more to them, because they perceive Ole JR's been around a long time and he's signed a lot of really cool talent that's done well. So maybe I should listen to him a little bit. And I don't try to change their life or change their religion, but some things need to be addressed, and it's all for their own good. In other words, what do you do on your days off? You have a plan. You go home, hit the couch, chill, work on your tan by, tanning bed. Is that your big, this, and I'm blunt, sometimes too blunt. I'll admit that, but they need to hear when they're screwing up and tell them why they're screwing up and tell them here's how you solve that problem. It's just not, you're an idiot, stop doing that, move on. Here's what you're doing, and here's what the perception is, and here's what you should consider as a change.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.